it's time to put in the sections lines, and I wanted to make sure that there were room for my section lines in my drawing, and so I changed the scale of my drawing so that it would fit. It was an 1/8 of an inch, and that wouldn't fit. So I came down to my dimensions here and changed it to 3/32, and that does fit. Deactivate the view, move it around a little bit. Just drag it around a bit here, and I'm using the arrows on my keyboard to get it in place. And I can see now how I need to put in my section lines in order to be inside of the border of the title block, but not interfere with my dimensions that I have in place there. So this guy looks pretty good in place, but the first thing to do before you start putting in your dimensions is putting in your sections, is to delete all of the sections that you've made. So when you put your first one in, it is called, let's highlight that and see, it's called section 1. And so then you don't have to go in and rename them later. So I need to drag this guy up. I'm going to put him, that end of it right there. And then let's see, we can see this is not necessary to change the view range here. Okay, so that looks good to me. Now I'm going to copy that multiple times. So I'm going to click multiple, and I'm going to simply go straight across to every place that's different, every section that would be different. So you can see that this section, oops, let's move it over a bit. I'm going to use the arrow on my keypad. See how that section, this section cuts through the garage here. This section cuts through the garage here, but it's another extension here. So I want that. And then I'm going to copy this guy, and he goes through a different part of the house. So this is now cutting through a different part of the house. And then I'm going to copy it again and have it go through that part of the house. And then the next different arrangement of the walls is here. And the last different arrangement of the walls would be there. So that would be all of the sections that I'd want to put in. I don't want my section to cut through a wall. So I'm going to move it one way or the other. I can move it that way. And that is nice because they're all lined up across the top. They're all lined up across the bottom. And as we take a look at it, that's section 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and that's 6. And then I want to do the same thing here. I would do, let's put those outside of the dimensions. So I want this one, which is now number 7. I actually want this guy to go up a little bit, so I'll just click on him, and it's easiest to just use the arrow keys. So there I'm cutting through just this portion of the house, and then I will copy that forward or up, and I want it to go through that portion of the house because it's a garage and the library. And the next one would go through the garage and part of the house, and then the next one would go through the garage and a different part of the house. Whoops, I want it to come down a little bit. So, and the reason being that this really is a different this goes through this garage and this part of the house, this wall, but this one will go through this part of the garage and then show the house. So that's a little bit different. And then the next one will go up, and I always like to make sure that my sections go through the stairs. So that one does that. It goes through the garage, this part of the house, and then through the stairs. And then the next one, which we'll copy up, will go through a different assembly of the house. And then this one, I want to copy this guy up to here. That looks good. And then this one will go through here. And then the last one will go through there. So I'll just bring this guy up a little bit so that it's not on top of each other. This one, there's not much I can do about that. If I move this guy up a little bit, I'm still going to have these on top of each other. But that's the proper way to put your sections in. So I know it's a lot, but each section shows something different about the house. And that's very important to the architect to take a look at everything, every possible way that the house is put together. And every time you have a different jog or a different kind of assembly, you want to have a different section to represent that. So we've got how many sections? Well, this is the last one. I have 15 sections. They're all properly ordered. And so I would grab each one of these sections and actually put it on its individual sheet. And that's how I would like to see you dimension or section your particular model. Is every time there's a jog, if you just have a square or a rectangle, you're only going to have two. But if you have any projections in your house, then you have to have more sections. And this is how we would illustrate the sections in this particular model because of all of the different jogs that it has.